Yeah, good evening, guys. In the last class, we discussed about what is throws and what is throw. Now, simple. People are saying that they are not able to understand throws and throw. Simple is throws. It is used to ignore. It is used to ignore checked exceptions. It is used to ignore checked exceptions. What is the purpose of throw? It is used to create the exception. Simple. Throws is a keyword. It is used to ignore checked exceptions. Throw. It is used to create the exception. Throw keyword is used to create the exception. Throws keyword is used to ignore the checked exception. In the Java, already there are so many exceptions are available. In the Java, already there are so many exceptions are available. Now, when you write the program, there are some exceptions which will be identified at the compile time. The exceptions which are identified at the compile time are called as checked exception. When there is a checked exception, your program cannot be compiled. Either you need to handle the checked exception or you need to ignore the checked exception. If you want to handle the checked exception, you need to go for try catch, try block and catch block. If you are interested to handle the exceptions, then you need to go for try catch. If you are not interested to handle the exception, then you will go for throws. If you are not interested to handle the exception, then you will go for throws keyword. Now, my program is expecting some input from the user. If user input is valid, I will run my program, I will send the output. If user is giving an invalid input, is there any use of running the program? If user is giving the invalid input, my program will fail abnormally. I want to throw the exception to the user, boss. Your data is invalid. My program cannot work for your data. In that scenario, we will create the exception and we will throw the exception. Now, how to create exception? By using throw keyword. Using this throw keyword, you can create the exception using predefined class, or you can create the exception by using user defined exception class. How to create one exception on our own? I want to create an exception, invalid ID exception. When you pass invalid number, invalid ID, I want to throw the exception. Can you tell me how to create an invalid exception? Public class invalid ID exception extends from which class? Runtime exception. Whenever we are using this exception, I want to call superclass constructor. Public runtime exception. Sorry, public invalid ID exception. Public invalid ID exception class name should be same as a constructor name. Yeah, public class invalid ID exception extends runtime exception. Public invalid ID exception, my class constructor is expecting some message as a parameter. That message I want to pass to superclass constructor. So what is this class? What is this class? This class is a super class. This class is a user defined exception class. In order to create one user defined exception class, I am extending the properties from runtime exception. Public class invalid ID exception extends runtime exception. Public invalid ID exception. This is a constructor. Can I call it as a parameterized constructor? Yes, this is a parameterized constructor. What I am doing inside the constructor? Parent class constructor I am accessing. Now, If your ID, if ID, I'm reading the ID from the user. I'm reading ID from the user. Integer ID is equal to scanner dot next int. Scanner class method I'm using to read the data. If ID is less than or equal to 0, if ID less than or equal to 0, I can't do anything. I need a positive number. But you are returning a 0 or negative. I can't execute my logic. Then I want to throw the exception. Which exception? Invalid ID. How to throw that invalid ID exception? Throw new invalid ID exception. What is the reason? Invalid ID. So like this, when you want to create the exception based on your requirement, then we will go for user defined exception. When I am writing a program, I am trying to read a file. I'm trying to read a file by using file reader. When I try to read a file using file reader, compiler will tell me, boss, please take care. You may get file not found exception. Please check file is available or not. I may get file not found exception. That is a checked exception. If I want to handle, I can by using try catch block. If I don't want to handle, I will ignore. How can I ignore that? By using throws. So tell me, what is the difference between throw and throws? What is the difference between throw and throws? Throw and throws are used to, throws is used to ignore the exception. Throw is used to create the exception. Now, in this program, I'm trying to write file reader fr is equal to new file reader. I'm giving a file name as a input. I'm giving file name as a input for this. File reader fr is equal to new file reader. So in future, I may get a file not found exception. Sir, where I will get UI and Oracle videos? We already gave na? Rahul, please contact admin team. They will tell you. Yeah. File reader fr is equal to new file. I sent message also in the group couple of times. Right. File reader fr is equal to new. File reader fr is equal to new file reader abc.txt. It is giving checked exception. Now, if I want to handle that, how can I handle? By using try catch exception E. Now, this line I will keep in the try block. Here I will write E dot print stack trace. Here I will print E dot print stack trace. Am I able to handle that? Yes or no? Yes, I'm able to handle the exception. How to handle the exception? Using try catch. But this exception is a checked exception. I don't want to handle. I don't want to handle. Then what I will do? Throw exception. Throws exception. So tell me, what is the purpose of throws? Throws keyword is used to ignore the exception. What is the purpose of throw? It is used to create the exception in the program. Throws is used to ignore the exception and compile the program. Throw is used to create the exception based on the scenario. You can create the exception by using predefined exception class, or you can develop user defined exception also. What is the meaning of user defined exception? What is the meaning of user defined exception? In Java language, we have several predefined exception classes. In Java, we have several predefined exception classes like this. Based on the project requirement, sometimes we need to create our own exception. So if we are creating our own exception, that exception is called as user defined exception like this. To create our own exception, we need to extend the properties from either exception class or runtime exception class. Anything is fine. Either you can extend from exception or you can extend from runtime exception. Public class no data found exception extends a runtime exception. Now, Based on the situation, if ID is not matching, I'm creating my own exception that is called throw new no data found exception. Throw I am using to create the exception and throw the exception. Perfect. Throws is used to ignore checked exceptions and compile our program. Okay, basically if you have checked exception, your program cannot be compiled. So whenever you have a checked exception, you have two options. Either handle that or ignore that. If you want to handle, you need to go for try catch. If you want to ignore, you have throws. Got my point? Either you can handle or you can ignore. That's it. Fine. Now let's understand method stack, exception stack. When we are having exceptions in the methods, how JVM is going to handle that? How JVM is going to handle that? Someone asking, user defined exceptions are checked or unchecked. User defined exceptions are unchecked exceptions only. Okay. Method stack. Let's understand what is method stack. Right. Guys, now here I am having one method void m1. I'm having a method void m1. Here I am having another method void m2. Void m2. Now in the here I am having main method public static void main string arguments. String arguments. I'm creating object demo d is equal to new demo. Demo d is equal to new demo. I'm calling d dot m1. Forget about m2 for time being. Okay. I'm taking two methods, guys. Void m1 and main method. Inside this m1 method, I'm having two parameters a comma b. Now integer a is equal to a by integer c is equal to a by b. C is equal to a by b. Then I am writing system dot out dot println c. System dot out dot println of c. That is used to print the data. So this is my method stack. Okay, let me go here. Understand how these methods are going to execute. First one, I have a main method. Inside the main method, there is a logic. There is a logic. Then I have a m1 method. Video band karna yaar. Yes, I have a main method. This main method is calling my m1 method. Main method is calling my m1 method. Now observe. Inside this m1 method, we have two parameters. Then what I need to do? I'm going to say d dot m1 10 comma 0. I'm saying 10 comma 0. First of all, let's take 10 comma 1 or 10 comma 2. I have a m1 method and I have a main method. Main method is a static method. M1 method is a instance method. Can I call instance method from the static method? Yes, we can call by using object. We have main method. Inside the main method, I'm creating object for the demo class. Using demo object, I am calling M1 method. Now, my program execution always will start from main method. Main method is the entry point for JVM execution. What is the first line in the main method? What is the first line in the main method? Create the object. I'm going to create the object. After creating the object, memory will be allocated. By using that object, we can access the variables of the class, public variables, public methods. D dot M1. I'm calling M1. When I call this M1, that method call will go to M1 method. One method is calling another method. One method is calling another method. D dot M1. It is calling M1 method. I am passing 10 comma 2. 10 will be stored into A variable. 2 will be stored into B variable. 10 is a first parameter. 2 is a second parameter. 10 and 2. C is equal to A by B. 10 by 2, 5. Okay. Output will be printed as 5. Any problem? So this is successful execution based on the input. My program is executing successfully. Now let me change the input. Let me change the input. Instead of 2, I am giving the input as 0. Instead of 2, I am giving the input as 0. Now observe. When I run this program execution will start from main method. Inside the main method, we are creating object and we are calling method. When I call the method, from here, control will go to M1 method. From here, control will go to M1 method. When control is going to M1 method, first parameter will be 10, second parameter will be 0. Now, C is equal to A by B, 10 by 0. Dividing a number with the 0, invalid. Whenever this line is executed, we will get a exception. Whenever this line is executed, we will get a exception. So that exception is a checked exception or unchecked exception. The exception is a unchecked exception. Why we are calling it as a unchecked exception? Why we are calling it as a unchecked exception? Because that exception is occurring in the runtime. If the exception is identified at the compile time, that is called checked exception. This exception is occurring in the runtime. That's why it is called unchecked exception. Now, when this exception occur at this line, immediately our JVM will check, is there any exception handling logic in the M1 method? JVM is going to check that. Is there any exception handling logic available in the M1 method? But can you tell me, do I have logic in the M1 to handle? Do I have the logic to handle the exception? No, I don't have any logic to handle the exception. Now here problem occurred. When the problem occurred here, the method execution will be terminated. The method execution will be terminated at that line only. It will not continue because C is equal to A by B. So there is a problem. When there is a problem, JVM will check, is there any handler? Is there anybody to handle the exception in the M1 method? Is there anybody available to handle the exception? Nobody is available to handle the exception. When the nobody is available to handle the exception, JVM will kill that method. The method execution will be terminated. When the method execution is terminated, JVM will check, okay, this method got the exception. There is nobody to handle the exception in the method. Let's kill that. Let's stop it. Then immediately JVM will check who called this method. JVM will check that who called this method. Who called this method? Main method. Then JVM will go to main method. JVM will check, hey, main method, you called M1. You called M1. That method got some exception. Do you have logic to handle? Can you handle this exception? It will ask the main method. JVM will ask the main method, hey, main method, you called M1. I killed your M1 method because there is a problem in that method, but there is no logic to handle. I killed it. I killed it. Do you have the logic to handle? It will ask the main method. Is that main method having the logic to handle? Main method also saying that no boss, I also don't know how to handle. Then JVM will kill this main method also. Are you guys getting my point? JVM is killing that main method also. Then JVM will take the control. Okay, M1 method called by main method. M1 method having a problem. In which line there is a problem, JVM will note down. Then JVM is killing M1 because there is no logic to handle. M1 giving exception. Why it is giving exception? Somebody called that. Who called that? Main. In the main method, is there any logic to handle? No. Then JVM will get angry. Boss, you called M1. That got the exception. That method don't know how to handle. You also don't know how to handle. Let's shoot. I am killing you. That main method also will be killed by JVM. After killing the main method, JVM will note down M1 method failed because that method called by main method. Which line M1 method is failed and which line main M1 method is called. All that information JVM will print on the console. That is called exception stack trace. That is called exception stack trace. That means either caller method should handle or calling method should handle. If handling logic is not there in the caller or calling, program will terminate abnormally. Understand my point? Now let's see this. Let's see this. Here I am having public or void M1. Integer A comma integer B, integer C is equal to A by B, system dot out dot println C. System dot out dot println C. Am I getting any exception? No. Why? Compiler don't know. Am I dividing with 0 or I am dividing with 1? I am dividing with 2. Compiler don't know. Compiler is checking that A is one variable, B is one variable. But what is the value? Compiler don't know. That's why it is not giving any exception. Right. Now, this is an instance method. Let us create the object. Demo D is equal to new demo. Demo D is equal to new demo. D dot M1. 10 comma 0. 10 comma 0. I'm calling a method. Now see. D dot M1. Whenever I call this method, control will go to M1. Into C is equal to A by B. Here, dividing with 0, exception will come. That is called arithmetic exception. When there is a arithmetic exception, JVM will ask, hey M1, there is a problem in your code. Do you know how to handle? Does M1 knows how to handle? M1 don't know how to handle. No boss, I don't know how to handle. Then die. If you don't know how to handle, then better to die. I will kill you. JVM will kill the M1. After killing the M1, then JVM will think, this method called by someone. Who is that? Main method. JVM will come to main method. JVM will ask main method, hey main method, do you know what is M1? Yes, I know. I only called it. Okay, very good. But that method got dead because there is a problem. That method don't know how to handle. I killed it. Do you know how to handle? No, I also don't know. Then you also die. Then JVM will kill the main method also. So M1 method killed first. Then main method also killed. So why that M1 is killed? Why that main method is killed? JVM will print that information on the console. That information is called exception stack trace. What is the reason for the exception? That stack trace will be printed for the programmer to understand why the problem came, where the problem came, and who caused that problem. So that is called stack trace. Run the program. When I run this program, you see, exception in thread main lang dot arithmetic exception. The reason is dividing by 0. Where exactly exception came? M1. So first which method got killed? M1. After M1 is killed, then which method got killed? Main method. So when you are trying to troubleshoot the problem, go from bottom to top. Okay. So M1 method called from the main method Java demo.java line number 12. See demo.java line number 12. What is this? Calling M1. This is the root cause. Because of this line only, we got the exception. From this line, it is going to M1. M1 having this logic, this is giving the exception. So first this method got killed, then this method got killed. Got it? Now graceful termination or abnormal termination? Abnormal termination. So can I say this is a risky code? This is a risky code. Now I want to handle that. Now I want to handle that. So is it a checked exception or unchecked? Unchecked. Can I handle by using throws? Throws. Can I ignore that? Yes or no? We can ignore only checked exceptions, but it is a checked exception or unchecked exception? Unchecked exception. Can I ignore? I cannot ignore. We cannot ignore. I cannot ignore. Then I have only one option. Either I need to handle or I need to die. Now I want to handle. How can I handle? Try and catch. Tell me, what is the purpose of try? What is the purpose of catch? Try is used to write the risky code. Catch is used to handle the exception. I need to keep the risky code in the try block. Whenever exception occurred in the try block, then it will go to catch block. Let's come on. I want to write try and catch. Try and catch. Okay, exception E. What is the risky code? Into C is equal to A divided by B. Cut. Paste. Okay. Then E dot print stack trace. Now I'm going to keep this here. Got it? Now here system dot out dot println M1 started. M1 started. Now M1 ended. M1 ended. Now understand. Here main method started. Here main method started. Here main method ended. Main method ended. That's it. Okay. Now see, my program is executing from the main method. Main method is the entry point for my program execution. First this line will execute system.out.println. What is the purpose of system.out.println? What is the purpose of system.out.println? Just to print a message. After printing message, what I am doing? I'm creating a object. Demo D is equal to new demo object creation. D dot M1 10, 0. From here, it will go to M1 method. So 10, 0. What is the first line? What is the first line? Printer. M1 started. Then it will go to try block. C is equal to A by B. 10 by 0. Exception. What exception? Arithmetic exception. Whenever exception occur, immediately JVM will alert. Okay, there is some problem. There is some problem. Whenever there is a problem, JVM will start. JVM will come to main method. JVM will come to M1 method. Hey, M1, because of this line, there is a problem. Because of this line, there is a problem. Do you know how to handle? Then M1 tell, yes boss, I know how to handle. Because there is a try block. The code is in the try block. Whenever exception occur in the try block, it will go to catch block. So when JVM asks M1 method, hey M1, there is a arithmetic exception in your line. There is a arithmetic exception in your logic. Do you know how to handle? Do you know how to handle? Yes boss, I know. Then JVM will keep quiet. JVM will keep quiet because I have a problem. I don't know how to handle that problem. Then my father will not come. Right. If I have a problem, if I don't know how to handle, simple man, in your school days, what you will do? When you have a problem in the school, Papa ko leke jate na. Papa, he is beating me. Teacher is scolding me. Yes, sir. Nowadays, in our childhood, Teachers used to beat us like anything. Same na? But now students are beating the teacher. Now, in our olden days, when we are going for school, I studied in government school. So there, they used to beat left and right. If we don't write on the slate or if we don't sit properly, if we do some noise, they will beat. But today, if any teacher beat the student father, mother complaining in the police station. That teacher is beating my kid. That teacher is beating my child. Now, teaching job is one of the worst job now. They can't tell anything to the student. Okay, so students are beating the teachers back. So that is the current generation, right? So similarly here, whenever हाँ क्या भाई आप लोग संस्कारी है क्या? Right, good. Now, whenever there is a exception in the M1 method, then JVM will ask, boss, there is a problem. Do you know how to handle? Then M1 tells, yes, I know how to handle. Then JVM no need to do anything because there is a problem. M1 knows how to handle. So when the problem occurs, it will go to catch block. In the catch block, it is printing the trace. Then it will continue the execution. After this execution is completed, then it will come back to here. Then it will continue this execution also. Can I say it is a graceful termination? Yes, it is a graceful termination. See, main method started, M1 started, we got the exception also, M1 ended, main method ended, stack also printed. Why this stack is printing? We are printing in the catch block. How we are printing in the catch block? E dot print stack trace. E dot print stack trace. If I don't call it, it will not print anything. Okay, write this. Yeah, main method started, M1 started, M1 ended, main method ended. So this is called handling the exception. How I am handling the exception? Try and catch. When I write this try and catch in the M1 method also terminating gracefully. M1 method also terminating gracefully. Main method also terminating gracefully. So this is one scenario to handle the exception. This is one scenario to handle exception. Now you understand the JVM behavior. So what is the behavior of the JVM? Whenever exception occur, JVM will check for handler. If a handler available, no problem. If a handler not available, it will kill. After killing that, it will go to caller. Who called that method? Who called that method? Main method called that method. For example, I will remove try catch block here. Okay. I will remove try catch block here. Now I will go here. I will write try catch here. Okay, understand? Earlier I'm writing try catch blocks in the M1. Now I am writing try catch block in the main method. Now I am writing try catch block in the main method. Okay, now can you tell me the execution flow? Main method started, M1 started. Now see, my program will start from here. Inside the main method, system.out.println main method started. It will go to this main method started. Go to try block, create the object, call the M1. It will go to M1. M1 started. There is a problem. There is a problem. When there is a problem, JVM is going to ask M1, boss, there is a problem. Do you know how to handle? No. Then kill that. Kill that. So method will be killed at the line number 7. Line number 8 and line number 9 will execute or will not execute? line number 8 and line number 9 will not execute. Method will be killed. After killing that method, what JVM will do? It will go to caller method. Okay, who called this method? The main method called this. Then it will ask main method, hey main method, you called M1, do you remember? Yes boss, I killed that method because there is a problem. So do you know how to handle? Main method will tell, yes boss, I know how to handle. Then JVM will keep quiet. Because M1 method called by main method. M1 method gave the exception. JVM knows how to, main method knows how to handle that exception. So exception occurred. M1 method terminated abnormally. Then it will go to catch block. In the catch block, what I am doing? E dot print stack trace. Then what is the meaning of that? It is printing exception stack trace. Then after that it will continue, JVM will continue the execution. That means which method is giving the exception. If that method knows how to handle the exception, JVM will continue the execution. If your method don't know how to handle the exception, JVM will kill your method. After killing your method, JVM will go to caller method. If caller method knows how to handle, JVM will continue. If caller method also don't know how to handle, JVM will kill the caller also. That means whenever there is a problem, your program should know how to handle. If your program don't know how to handle, your methods will be killed by JVM. Then finally, JVM will print a stack trace. What is the meaning of stack trace? Printing the information about the exception. Here I'm writing e dot print stack trace. Now run this program. Yes, see, main method started, M1 started, main method ended. But then it is printing stack trace. Where is the problem? M1 method. Who called M1 method? Main method. That information it is printing. Now let me do one thing. Now here, instead of writing this logic in the M1 method, I will write this logic in the M2 method. Okay, I will write this logic in the M2 method. Integer a comma integer b. Here I will call M2 a comma b. M2 a comma b. Okay guys, now I am calling which method? M1. M1 calling which method? M2. Where is the logic available? M2. M2 started and M2 ended. Now here M1 started, M1 started, M1 ended. M1 started, M1 ended. Understand guys? My program will start from main method. Inside the main method, I'm calling M1. M1 is calling M2. M2 is having logic. Now, can you tell me output? Main method started. M1 started. M2 started. Main method ended. Got it? Now see, program is starting from main method. Inside the main method, demo d is equal to new demo d dot m1 10 comma 0. It is going to call m1 method. When it go to m1 method started. M1 is calling m2. Then it will go to m2. M2 started. Here failed. 10 by 0. Arithmetic exception. When there is a arithmetic exception, JVM will come. Hey M2, there is a problem. Do you know how to handle? No. Then what JVM will do? First it will kill which method? First it will kill the M2. After killing that, is JVM terminating the program? No. Why? Looking for the caller. This method called by someone. Let me check with that caller. Does they know how to handle or not? Whenever you get the exception, immediately your program will not be terminated. If you get the problem, immediately your program will not be terminated. JVM will check whether you have the logic to handle or not. So M2 method failed. M2 called by M1. M1 called by main method. So here D dot M1 go to M1 method. Here I am calling M2 go to M2 method. Integer C is equal to A by B. Integer C is equal to A by B. It failed. Then JVM is asking, hey M2, there is a problem in your code. Do you know how to handle? I don't know. Then you die. I'm going to kill you. JVM will kill M2 first. After M2 is killing abnormally. Why that M2 is killing abnormally? Why M2 killing abnormally? M2 having a problem. M2 having a unchecked exception. There is a problem. What is exception? Unexpected, unwanted situation which is disturbing normal flow of the execution. If there is no exception, my program will continue as expected. Because of this unexpected, unwanted situation, my program killing, my method is killing in the middle. If a method killed by JVM in the middle, that is called abnormal termination. Right. After killing this M2 method, JVM is checking who called this M2. This method called by whom? This method called by M1. JVM will ask M1, hey M1, did you called M2? Do you remember? Yes, I called M2. M1 having a problem. That person don't know how to handle the problem. I killed it. I killed it. Now it is your turn. Because of you, I got a problem. Because of you called M1, because of you called M2, I got a problem. Do you know how to handle? No, then you also die. Then JVM will kill that M1 also. After killing the M1, JVM will check who called this M1. I got a problem. I need to do inquiry, right? Why this problem comes? Who made this problem come in the program? Then JVM will kill the M1. JVM will go to caller of the M1. Who is the caller of the M1? Main method. JVM and main method are friends. Yes or no? Yes. JVM and main method are friends. Then JVM will go and talk to main method. Hey, main method, you called the M1 method. That M1 method called the M2 method. M2 method having a problem. They don't know how to handle. I killed the M2. I came to M1. M1 also don't know how to handle. I killed M1. Now it is your turn. You tell me, do you know how to handle that? Yes, JVM, I know. Then JVM, okay, boss, I'm going. Bye bye. Yes or no? If M1 method is telling that I know how to handle, if you know how to handle your problem, I don't need to do anything. If you know how to handle your problem, I don't need to do anything. Now that main method will tell that JVM boss, I know how to handle up aram se baito. I can take care of it. Then from this try block, it will go to catch block. In the catch block, it is printing the trace. What is the trace? Exception information. After tracing, JVM will continue its execution. Program will be terminated gracefully. Now execute this. See where it failed. Where it failed first? M2. Then it killed M2. It killed M2. After killing the M2, then what happened? It came to M1. It killed M1. From M1, it came to main method. Main method ended successfully. Okay, main method ended successfully. That is a graceful termination. Now here, instead of e dot print stack trace, I can write like this also. As of now, we are using system dot out. Now I can use system dot error dot println. system.out.println, system.error.println. Now error problem exception occurred. Exception occurred. E. What is the exception? I'm printing that exception by using system.error.println. As of now, what we are using? System.out.println. System.out.println, it is used to print a normal message to the console. I want to print a danger message to the console. How to print a danger message to the console? System.error.println. Now run this program. Okay. Exception occurred. Arithmetic exception, dividing by 0. So these statements are coming in the black color. This message coming in the red color. Why? Difference is here system.out, here system.error. Now tell me, when to go for system.out.println, when to go for system.error.println? If you want to print a normal message on the console, we will go for out.println. If you want to print a danger message on the console, error.println. Now, am I calling print stack trace? Am I calling print stack trace? I am printing E. Apply your common sense and tell me what is happening there. Exception आ रहा है भाई, सबको पता है वो तो. Object is printing. What is the meaning of object is printing? ToString method is calling. What is the meaning of object is printing? ToString method is calling. Right. Now exception. Go to exception class and check it. Do we have ToString method? Do we have any ToString method? Do we have any ToString method? In the exception class, do you have any ToString method? Come on, man. I opened the class. Is there any ToString method available? No, there is no ToString method. Only constructors are available. So when the method is not available in the class, then what JVM will do? Check the parent. Who is the parent for exception? Throwable. Then JVM will go to throwable. JVM will check in the throwable for ToString method. JVM will check. No. We are checking at which line? 200. How many lines are available? नहीं है? If they override? नहीं किया? Are you sure? Come down, scroll, constructor, methods started, get class, init class. He is telling like he is James Gosling. What they have done? Overriding. Why they are overriding? They don't want to execute parent class method. So what is that logic here? See here. Returns a short description of the throwable. The result is the concatenation of the exception. Can you see? Get class dot get name. What is the purpose of get class? Listen. When you understand internal code, then only you will understand the concept. Okay? Right. If you want to become a doctor, you have to cut so many dead bodies. Yes or no? How they will become famous doctors? First they will experiment with animals, then they will experiment with the dead bodies, then they will experiment on the humans. So similarly, if you want to understand Java, first you need to understand internally how it is working. I started here. I can simply tell you, array you are printing E. E means ToString will be called. ToString is available in the object class. You should get a doubt. Sir, object class ToString will print class name @ some hash code na. But why it is printing a detailed information here, how it is coming, then immediately you should get that thought. Okay, object class toString is not executing. If object class toString is executed, we don't get this output. If object class toString is executed, what output we will get? Class name @ some hash code in the hexadecimal format. But is it giving a readable output? Yes, that means object class toString is calling, object class toString is not calling, object class toString is not calling. E belongs to exception class. I have been to exception, I checked it. Is there any method available with the name toString? First of all, there is no method. Only constructors available. So when there is no method in the current class, then what JVM will do? Where we discussed this concept? Inheritance. Whenever you whenever you access child class method, first it will check in the current class. If not available, it will check in the immediate parent. If not available, it will go for object. Now first it is checking in the exception. In the exception, do we have toString method? No. Then it will check, does this exception having any parent? Yes, it is having a parent. What is that parent? Throwable. Now it is going to throwable. It is checking for toString. Available or not available? Available. It is available in the throwable. It is available in the object also. But which one it is calling? Throwable toString method is calling. What is there in the throwable toString? Get class dot get name. Yes. Yes. Right. After that, get a localized message. Getting the information of the exception. This S will hold class name. S will hold class name. It will hold root cause of the exception. Then it is returning. Can I say ternary operator? Ternary operator. If this message is not equal to null, then it will print this. If the message is null, it will print only class name. Okay, now can you see the output? What it is printing? Class name and message. Which class name? Exception class name, whatever the exception we got. So that toString method is called, which is available in the throwable. What is throwable? Parent class for exception. What is exception? Parent class for all the exceptions. Do you remember hierarchy? Object, throwable, exception, checked exception, unchecked exception. This side, error. Difference between exception and error. Exceptions can be handled, errors cannot be handled. Out of memory error. When you get out of memory error, program will terminate abnormally. Good. When you understand the internals, you will get more confidence. Now, so let's run this program. Yep. We are just printing exception occurred java.lang.arithmetic exception divided by 0. In the exception class, by using this exception, we can call some methods, get to message, get to localized message, hash code, toString, final fill in stack trace, get cause, get class, get stack trace. Like that, there are so many methods are available. Those methods are available in the exception class. They are available in the throwable class. They are available in the throwable. How can we access those exceptions in our program? I have a exception object. Exception is a child for throwable. Child class can access the properties of the parent class. That is called inheritance. So oops completed or not completed? Not completed. Every day it will be there. Every day the concepts of oops we are going to use. Good. So with this we understand how the method calls are going to happen. Okay. This earlier we have written, you can remove that. That is used for checked exceptions. Okay, I think that I have written before starting this program. Okay, now it's not mandatory. All right, main method started. Main method started. M1 exception occurred. M1 exception occurred, and we are able to see M1, M2 method having a problem. M2 method got killed. After M2, M1 got killed. Then main method having a logic to handle. Then main method terminated gracefully. So now if I want to print the stack trace, E dot print stack trace. Why we are printing the stack trace? Why we are printing the stack trace? To understand root cause of the problem. To understand root cause of the problem. Who is printing the stack trace? My method is giving to JVM. JVM is printing the stack trace on the console. Okay. Next one. For example, there is a concept called exception propagation. There is a concept called exception propagation. Exception propagation means when your method is not interested to handle, you will rethrow the exception. That is called propagation. So I am M2, M2 calling by M1, M1 calling by main. My M2 method want to write the logic in the try catch, but I don't want to handle that exception. I want to throw exception to my caller method. That is called exception propagation. Rethrowing the exception. See here. See here. I'm going to write try catch exception of E. This is my problem logic. I'm dividing number with 0. Now, whenever problem occurs, what will happen now? Whenever problem occurs, what will happen now? Come on, guys. It will go to catch block. In the catch block, I want to rethrow the exception. Throw new, what is that? Invalid exception, invalid ID. That means I need to create one exception. Let me create one. Invalid number exception. How to make it as an invalid number exception? It extends from either exception class or runtime exception. I'm calling superclass constructor. I'm giving the information to my superclass. Now here, whenever this is there, I want to throw new, what is that? Invalid number exception. Invalid number. What I am doing now? What I am doing now? I am throwing the exception to my caller. When I am throwing the exception to my caller, compiler warning me, boss, you are going to throw the exception. There is a exception in you. There is a chance of getting the exception. So I am only throwing that exception. Do you want me to handle again this? No. Then what I will do? I will use throws. When to go for throws? So here, when I'm throwing the exception, I'm getting a checked exception. Compiler telling me, boss, you are creating exception. You are only creating the problem. Yes, I know. Ignore it. How to ignore it? By using which keyword? To ignore it, I need to use throws keyword. Fine. Now, here, when I am throwing the exception, what is happening here? M2 also, here I'm calling M1. M1 is calling M2. In the M2, I am ignoring the exception. When M2 is ignoring the exception, M2 caller should handle that, right? I am calling you. If you don't handle, I need to handle. So it is telling to M1, boss, you are calling M2. M2 is ignoring the exception. You take care it. Then what M1 will tell? Why I will take care? I will also ignore. Whoever is calling me, they will take care. Whoever is calling me, they will take care. I just want to ignore. Who is calling this M1? Main method. In the main method, there is a logic to handle. So like this, Whenever your method is ignoring the exception by using throws, this method caller should handle that. Who is the caller of this method? M1. Now what is M1 handling? M1 also ignoring? M1 also ignoring. When M1 also ignoring, who is responsible? Main. Why main is responsible? Main method is calling that M1. Let's execute it. Yes. What I am getting? Invalid number, main method ended. Main method ended. Okay. Main method started. M1 started. M2 started. M2 killed. M1 killed. Then main method completed. Yeah. That is the order of methods execution when there is a problem. Now tell me, what is the difference between throws keyword and throw keyword? Throws is used to ignore or hand over the exception to caller. Hand over the exception to caller. What is the purpose of throw? Throw keyword is used to create the exceptions. Right. Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Now tell me, what is a try? What is a try? Try is used to keep the risky code. Whenever problem occurs in the try block, whenever problem occur in the try block, then it will go to catch block. Inside the catch block, you can handle that or you can rethrow the exception. Inside the catch block, what I am doing now? I am rethrowing the exception. When I rethrow the exception, who will receive that? Caller. M1 is ignoring. Then what will happen? Main method. What main method is doing? Handling. Then it is a printing stack trace. All right. हाँ होता है भाई. Main method printed. By the time the stack trace printing, this line is also executing. Both are happening parallelly. Sometimes it is coming in the red color, sometimes coming in the black color. Right. Now see, JVM is taking care of that. Yeah, guys, they're asking one question. Can we write throws keyword? Guys, listen. They're asking, can you write throws keyword instead of a method level? Can we write at the class level? No, invalid. Someone asked that question. Instead of writing throws keyword at the method level, can we write at the class level? It is invalid. Method only can write throws. Method only can write throws. All right. Good. So with this, we are done with exception handling and packages. So what is packages? Packages are used to group the classes. In the Java, already there are so many packages are available. In the project, multiple classes we are going to develop. So we need to separate them according to their functionality. Some classes are responsible for interacting with the database. Some classes are responsible for storing the data. Some classes are responsible for business logic. Depends on the functionality. We are going to divide the classes into packages. We can create multiple packages. What is import? What is import? Import is used to refer one package class in the another package class. We will go for import. Next one, we started exception handling. Exception means problem, unexpected, unwanted situation. When exception occurred, program will terminate abnormally. So if you want a graceful termination, you need to go for exception handling. To handle the exceptions, we have 5 keywords. Try, catch, finally, throw. Try. Use it to write the risky code. Try block requires either catch block or finally block. So when exception occur in the try block, it will go to catch block. Finally block always will execute. One try block can have multiple catch blocks also. Order should be child to parent. And in the Java, try with resource concept also available that we will discuss in the Java new features concept. In the Java new features concept, we will discuss try with resources. Basically, try with resources concept is used to avoid finally blocks and all. Whatever the cleanup activity, you no need to do separately in the finally. You can use try with resources concept introduced in the Java 1.7 version. Java 1.7 version. So Java new features we will discuss at the end of the course. All right. Now try with resources concept available in the 1.7. Right. Throws and throw. What is the purpose of throws and throw? Throws is used to ignore checked exception. Throw is used to create the exception. When you will create the exception, when you will ignore the exception, when you will create the exception, when you will ignore the exception. Come on, guys. When the user gives some invalid input, we will create the exception and we will throw the exception to the user. When you will ignore the exception, when there is a checked exception, we can ignore them. To ignore the exception, we will go for throws. To create the exception, we will go for throws and throw. What is user defined exception? In the Java, there are so many exceptions are already available. Based on the requirement, you can create your own exception also. The process of creating our own exception is called as user defined exception. The process of creating our own exception is called user defined exception. How to create a user defined exception? By extending from runtime exception or by extending from exception class, you can create that and you can throw that. Whenever exception occurred, how the method stack will execute? First, which method will be killed? The method which is having a problem, that method will be killed. After that, caller method will be killed. After that, main method will be killed. When you don't have a logic to handle, if you have a logic to handle, it will achieve graceful termination. Okay, what is exception rethrow? My method getting some exception, I am throwing some exception back to my caller method. That is called exception rethrow, right? My method is getting exception. I don't want to handle. I'm throwing back to my caller. My caller will take care. If my caller don't take care, JVM will kill that caller. After killing the method, at final stage, JVM will print stack trace. What is the meaning of stack trace? Information about the exception will be printed as part of stack trace. What is the difference between system.out.println, system.error.println? System.out.println is used to print a normal message on the console. What is the purpose of error.println? To print a danger message to the console, we will go for error.println. What is exception hierarchy? Object, throwable, exception, error. Exception, checked exception, unchecked exception. Can you give some examples for checked exceptions? IO exception. Some examples for unchecked exception? Null pointer exception. Null pointer exception. Arithmetic exception. Array index out of bound exception. Class cast exception. Something like that. Errors, stack overflow error, out of memory error, no such method error, no such field error. Like that, there are several errors are available. Good. Next topic is wrapper classes. Next topic is wrapper classes. That is very simple and easy topic that we will discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, good. Fine. Sorry? File handling. Yeah, after wrapper classes, we'll go for file handling. Okay. Fine, guys. Good. Thank you. We'll see you in the tomorrow class.